Secondly, of course, there are these big questions about whether if the NDA does win, whether he will be the chief minister. As you know, Amit Shah has evaded answering that question. He said that we are fighting this election under the leadership of Nitish Kumar. The chief minister will be decided after the poll. Finally, Nitish Kumar got his way. So, all this talk that he's not quite there, that he's not well, I mean, again, it's a question mark if he was assertive enough to protect his interests in those 5 seats. Maybe he's not as unwell as he used to be.
Absolutely.
So, but I think that, during the negotiations, the signal did go out to Nitish that, maybe the BJP would want to dump him after the elections.
Yeah.
So I think that he's very, very uncertain about his future. Things changed once Vajpayee, of course, moved out, and then Advani himself moved out, and Narendra Modi took over. And if you remember, that was a very tense time for the NDA in Bihar because Nitish waved the flag of rebellion, essentially because of Narendra Modi's history in Gujarat. That Modi Shah are such strong leaders and they do not let the grass grow under their feet. They don't allow anybody. But somehow in Bihar, they have just not been able to cultivate a leader who can rival Nitish. And so even today, they remain dependent on Nitish. And they are also scared that if Nitish does leave them and crosses over to the RJD like he did in 2015, it'll be a death knell for the NDA. So what the BJP feels is that maybe this time, if they can win more seats than Nitish Kumar, maybe this time they can finally dump him and install, a BJP chief minister, which is their ambition and has been the Modi Shah BJP's ambition for the last 10 years. And, you may talk about Lalu's Jungle Raj, but, for the voter who is between the age group of 18 and 20, in that 18 to 25 age group, they wouldn't even know what Jungle Raj is because they were not born or they were like infants at that time. So Jungle Raj has no resonance with them. What does have resonance, on the other hand, is employment. And, this is a very big issue for young youth in Bihar. And the fact is that the NDA has been ruling Bihar for 20 years.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. NDA, that is National Democratic Alliance, released its manifesto for the upcoming Bihar Assembly elections. There were tall promises made, but nothing as to how they will fulfill those promises. But the most significant feature of today's manifesto release was that Nitish Kumar appeared during the launch for only 26 seconds. This has become a chatter on the social media, and also the BJP leaders and other NDA allies were seen avoiding the media. Now, the big question is all not well within the NDA? Question number one, why do you think Nitish Kumar avoided the media? I was speaking to some people during the afternoon where people told me that apparently Nitish Kumar is sulking and he was forced to attend the launch, and somebody advised him that no, things will go out of hand and you must attend. So that is one bit. And the other bit is Chirag Paswan, Jiten Ram Machi, Upendra Kushwaha, before they were entering the manifesto launch, they were all questioned on the Mokama murder. So was that the reason that they avoided the media, or is it something else? We'll try and explore all these questions. Joining me this evening is a very special guest, veteran journalist, columnist, and author. Arti Jerath joins us on Truth Be Told. Wonderful to have you, Arti, on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're always welcome, Arti. And my first question, of course, is related to Nitish Kumar. I won't go into the technicalities of the manifesto as to what it has promised and what not. But the biggest question is that what is happening with Nitish Kumar? He doesn't seem to be happy. He seems to be sulking. Is all not well between BJP and Nitish Kumar currently?
So, there are two aspects really to this question. One is the questions that have been swirling around Bihar for the last couple of years about Nitish's health. That he's not been well. His public appearances, if you've noticed, have been, really bare minimal. When he does appear in public, he doesn't say very much. He has this kind of fixed smile on his face. He doesn't talk very much. Recently, there was this video that was going viral on social media of him trying to garland this woman and, was not being able to get the garland around her neck, and whether it was correct for him to garland a woman or not. There were all those sort of questions. So there is all this talk about his health. Nothing confirmed because there is no official word about whether he is indeed unwell. And if he is unwell, how unwell is he? And, what exactly is he suffering from? But yes, there are questions, largely because of his diminishing appearance in public. Secondly, of course, there are these big questions about whether if the NDA does win, whether he will be the chief minister. As you know, Amit Shah has evaded answering that question. He said that we are fighting this election under the leadership of Nitish Kumar. The chief minister will be decided after the polls. In the past, Nitish Kumar has always dominated the posters. He's been very much the face of the campaign, and everybody's known that he is the chief ministerial candidate. Even when Narendra Modi went and he addressed a rally, he more or less said what Amit Shah had said. He did not make a very clear announcement about Nitish Kumar being their chief minister if they win. And, of course, Mahagathbandhan has made this one of the main points of their campaign, daring the NDA to announce its chief ministerial face, who will be its chief minister. And then, since then, there has been some attempt at damage control. The Deputy Chief Minister, Samrat Chaudhary, said, of course, Nitish Kumar will be our Chief Minister after the polls. And even Chirag Paswan, who, as you know, has a very sort of tense relationship with Nitish Kumar, even he has said that, yes, all my MLAs will vote for Nitish Kumar as Chief Minister. But, these are junior leaders of the alliance, the two top people who are really the decision makers. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, neither of them has endorsed Nitish Kumar. So I think these are, sort of questions that are going around. And, there was, even when they were doing their seat sharing bargaining, there was a lot of tension between the BJP and the JDU. In fact, Nitish Kumar was not really involved in the negotiations. It was being done by two men who are supposedly very close to him, Sanjay Jha and Rajiv Landan Singh. And apparently, what I've heard is that they did not fill him in on all the details. So there were these 5 seats that became very contentious. These are JDU strongholds. One of them is particularly close and important to Nitish Kumar, Rajgir, because this falls in his Nalanda constituency. That's his home turf. And actually, apparently, the talk goes that the BJP was refusing to give these 5 seats to him. That's when he threw a massive sulk. So again, although they say that Nitish Kumar is not well and he's not quite there, but when it came to protecting his interest on these 5 seats, he threw a massive sulk. If you remember, at that time, one of his MPs threatened to resign. There was, kind of a lot of the talks had kind of broken down. Sanjay Jha was running around like a headless chicken trying to sort things out. And finally, Nitish Kumar got his way. He got those 5 seats. The BJP had actually wanted to give them to Chirag Paswan, which really annoyed Nitish Kumar. Um, Finally, Nitish Kumar got his way. So, all this talk that he's not quite there, that he's not well, I mean, again, it's a question mark if he was assertive enough to protect his
Yeah,
interests in those 5 seats. Maybe he's
right.
not as unwell as he used to be.
Absolutely.
So, but I
But you,
think that,
yeah.
during the negotiations, the signal did go out to Nitish that, maybe the BJP would want to dump him after the elections.
Yeah.
So I think that he's very, very uncertain about his future.
Right. I think you've
As
made a
are
significant. Yeah, that's
his
a significant point that
support.
Nitish is uncertain about his future. But we see a constant back and forth on Nitish. Now, say, for example, few interviews which have appeared on television, say, for example, with Samrat Chaudhary, Chirag Paswan, even Amit Shah. Amit Shah has given two interviews on two different channels. The first interview which he gave, he said he didn't mention the name of Nitish Kumar. But in the second one, he acknowledged Nitish Kumar. Then Chirag Paswan went on record to say that no, Nitish Kumar is our leader. So did Samrat Chaudhary. So we see a constant back and forth. And today, again, at the Manifesto launch, he just appears for 26 seconds and then he goes away. So, like what you said, that he's uncertain about the future. But what does it go to show? Does it bring out the complexity within the National Democratic Alliance that things are not easy, but they wouldn't let the skeletons out of the cupboard?
Absolutely. And, you see, I think Nitish Kumar is an exceptional politician. He is definitely, along with Sharad Pawar, one of the shrewdest politicians we have today in Indian politics. Although, they call him Paltu Ram because he keeps changing sides and, he seems to be not very consistent in his loyalties. But the fact remains, Neelu, that if you look at Bihar over the last 20 years, Nitish Kumar has dominated the political landscape of Bihar. I mean, Lalu and Nitish started out together as comrades in arms. They were the inheritors of the Loya socialist mantle, Karpuri Thakur's mantle in Bihar. And Lalu was always the more charismatic of the two, the better orator, the one who connected so, well with the masses. Nitish was always, not very good in that kind of thing. But Nitish always had a very big ego. And, once Lalu's reign kind of, deteriorated into what is now known as Jungle Raj popularly, that is basically the Yadavs took control, Nitish broke away. He has managed to carve out a space for himself in Bihar today, over 20 years, where no government can be formed without Nitish. And he has proved it. In the beginning, of course, he had this excellent relationship with when it was Vajpayee Advani BJP. He had an excellent relationship with both those leaders. Arun Jaitley was the main kind of interlocutor. He had enjoyed a very special rapport with Arun Jaitley, and Sushil Modi was their man in Bihar. And Nitish, was very, very, had a very good rapport with Sushil Modi as well. Things changed once Vajpayee, of course, moved out, and then Advani himself moved out, and Narendra Modi took over. And if you remember, that was a very tense time for the NDA in Bihar because Nitish waved a flag of rebellion, essentially because of Narendra Modi's history in Gujarat. And he walked out of the alliance. You remember there was that sort of pre-election dinner which he refused to attend, and things got very, very tense. And they got so bad that in 2015, he actually dumped the NDA and joined hands with Lalu and sprung that amazing victory in Bihar where the BJP was completely out and Lalu and Nitish together formed the Mahagathbandhan and formed a government. And, that just proved how critical Nitish Kumar has been to Bihar politics. And then, of course, 3 years later, the relationship broke down and then he went back to the NDA and the NDA was back in power,
But Arti, do you think that BJP can manage to do a Maharashtra in Bihar? Because there were rumors in between that, they're trying to split the party, that is JDU, but somehow things got under control. And what I'm told from the people on the ground, that this time Nitish Kumar looks more in control of his party as compared to what he was in 2020. And many people say they don't be surprised if JDU also emerges as the single largest party. Now, what happens if JDU emerges as the single largest party? Of course, there's a big if behind it, but what happens then?
Well, in the 2020 elections, the single largest party was the RJD, I think. But say within the NDA, the single largest party was the BJP. It won 75 plus seats. And Nitish was down to some 40 or 50 seats or something like that. Yet, he became chief minister. It just shows how important Nitish Kumar is to Bihar's politics. Nitish, over the years, in the first 10 years when he was in alliance with the BJP and he headed the government in Bihar from 2005 to 2015, those 10 years, he carved out a very loyal constituency. Basically, he split the old Mandal OBC base. And, he kind of separated the Yadavs and carved out this EBC constituency for himself, which according to the Bihar caste census is about 36% of the population. Now, even if they don't vote as an entire bloc, fully 100% for Nitish, even if Nitish gets about 60 to 70% of the votes, he's starting out with, about 25% votes in his pocket, 20 to 25% votes in his pocket. Now, that's a very, very large number in our first past the post system. So through those 10 years, he carved out this constituency, which has remained loyal to him over the last 20 years with special schemes, targeted schemes, for women. He's the first one to have carved out a women constituency. You remember that bicycle scheme he started in Bihar, where he gave free bicycles to young girls to go to school?
In fact, he still remains very popular. He still remains very popular with the women.
Very popular. Absolutely, absolutely. And then he did, of course, prohibition, which was entirely, at the behest of the women of Bihar who were suffering from domestic abuse from drunken husbands. So he did prohibition. That's proved to be a disaster because drinking continues and the state is losing revenue. And I think even women are now quite fed up because, they feel that their men are still buying hooch and, still beating them up. So prohibition hasn't really worked, but they remain loyal to him. So, these are two constituencies that Nitish has really kept, and he's kept them with himself. He has not allowed the BJP, and, that is a remarkable feat, given that Modi Shah are such strong leaders and they do not let the grass grow under their feet. They don't allow anybody. But somehow in Bihar, they have just not been able to cultivate a leader who can rival Nitish. And so even today, they remain dependent on Nitish. And they are also scared that if Nitish does leave them and crosses over to the RJD like he did in 2015, it'll be a death knell for the NDA. So they are mortally, scared. They treat him with kid gloves. They handle him very carefully because he is an extremely shrewd man. And nobody knows what he's going to do next. I think the BJP has not been able to figure him out. After all these years, they have not been able to figure out his politics. And he keeps it all to himself. Even his really close aides don't know what he's going to do next. So, that's the way it goes in Bihar. But I think this time, the BJP feels it has an opening. Because, Nitish is 75 years old, and even if he doesn't have dementia, as is being said, he is definitely not in the pink of health. And that is very obvious from the fact that he is not campaigning as vigorously as he's done in the past. Yes. You remember that election in 2010 when Nitish Kumar went all over the places in an auto rickshaw, meeting people face to face, that kind of stuff, he's completely stopped and he's hardly visible this time. So, despite that, so what the BJP feels is that maybe this time, if they can win more seats than Nitish Kumar, maybe this time they can finally dump him and install, a BJP chief minister, which is their ambition and has been the Modi Shah BJP's ambition for the last 10 years. So let's see. I think that many
given the character of
unpredictable things.
But given the character of Nitish Kumar, do you think he'll allow himself to get dumped at all? Will he reach a situation like that, or probably he'll prefer to switch sides then? If he feels that they're trying to, NDA or with the BJP leaders are trying to.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying many unpredictable things yet to happen in Bihar. Everything depends on the numbers. We'll have to see what the numbers are when the verdict comes in. And of course, you think Nitish Kumar is going to go out into the sunset quietly? He's not, But I think what the BJP is hoping is that they can prey on his party and maybe cannibalize, some of his supporters, particularly, candidates who belong to the upper caste. And, I think the RJD is hoping that it can also cannibalize, the JDU and take away, its EVC, MLAs. So, the fate of the JDU, but Nitish, of course, as you said, you think he's going to allow it. He's not going to fade away gently. So, it's going to be a very interesting tussle. Depending on the numbers, of course, if the NDA wins a huge majority, I think that, it's something like what happened in Maharashtra. They won such a big majority that, nobody could do anything about it. So if the NDA does that, then, of course, I think that the writing is on the wall. But if it doesn't, then if it's a close election, like Bihar elections have tended to be, last time, you remember, the difference between the NDA and the MGB was just 15 seats. And the vote share difference was 0.3%. Just 0.3% because there were so many narrow victories, 200 seats, 200 votes, 500 votes, that narrow. So if it's going to be like that, I think maybe we can look forward to some more political discussions on the post-poll scenario in Bihar.
Yeah, absolutely. But what do you think? What is the sense you get from the ground, Arti? Currently, are we in a position to say that which alliance seems to be having an edge right now? Because if you listen to Prime Minister Modi in his rallies, he looks a little insecure. Not that he's very confident. Like yesterday, he said that Rahul and Tejasvi are abusing me. Then Chhat Puja is a drama. That is what the opposition leaders are saying. So that reeks of a little insecurity. Probably he's not sure, and which is why he's playing that victim card. That is for Prime Minister Modi. But as far as the Grand Alliance is concerned, do you think they are well poised, or the situation looks very tricky for now?
So, as I said, Bihar elections have been very, very tightly contested, except in 2015 when, the MGB just ran away with the votes, although the BJP seemed very confident that it was going to win. But, between Lalu and Nitish, they got I think, over 160 seats, in a 243 assembly, which is very, very credible. The BJP has been surprisingly insecure for many months about Bihar. And it's shown in many little ways, For instance, the decision to do a caste census, a nationwide caste census. Now, this completely overturns the old RSS ideology, which has always been against the caste census. They want to unify Hindu society. They feel that caste divides Hindu society. But the BJP agreed to do it because Rahul Gandhi had made such an issue about caste census. And he was getting traction. And I think that they were feeling insecure, which is why they did that. Then they tried to do this, tried to make Operation Sindoor into, some kind of a, sort of campaign, election campaign. It flopped they hardly got any, sort of turnout at their rallies, and for they did this, I think, 10-day rally through Bihar. They got hardly any turnout, hardly any response from people. So obviously that was not working as a campaign slogan either. And then came SIR, which created so much confusion in Bihar, and nobody knew, what was happening, how they were going to prove, because, identity documents like birth certificate, property documents, things like that are very difficult to produce in our country, as you know, and especially in a backward state like Bihar, where there's very little documentation, very difficult to prove. And the funny thing is that, again, reports from the ground suggested that, apart from Muslims and EBC being, deleted, apparently a lot of upper castes were deleted. And that was a very surprising thing that came in. But, the explanation that was given, to me by my sources was that, the poor in Bihar try to get papers, because, they are so vulnerable that they need papers, whether it's caste documents or it's, whatever papers, they try to get them. The upper castes, on the other hand, because they are so dominant, they just have never felt the need to have any papers. So actually, of the 65 lakh people that were deleted, apparently a huge number were upper castes who, as you know, are BJP voters largely in Bihar. Which is why you saw then that the Supreme Court hurriedly decided, and the ECI accepted it, to make Aadhaar add Aadhaar card to the list of documents that you need to produce to get enrolled on the voters list. Which leads us to the question, then why do an SIR? If Aadhaar card is going to become a document that can, get you onto the voters list, it was always there as a document to get you on the. So then what is the purpose of the SIR? So it's created a lot of confusion, although people say that it's no longer an issue in Bihar, but I think at one point it was an issue, and which probably accounts for the success of Rahul Gandhi's vote Adhikar Yatra, that he did in Bihar. But now that the Aadhaar card has been accepted, it's no longer an issue. So that's died out. But the BJP has been behaving in a very insecure manner, right for the last so many months that, one wonders, why are they so insecure? And I mean, I would say that the reason they're insecure is that Bihar has a terrible unemployment problem. A terrible unemployment problem. And, you may talk about Lalu's Jungle Raj, but, for the voter who is between the age group of 18 and 20, in that 18 to 25 age group, they don't even know what Jungle Raj is, because they were not born, or they were like infants at that time. So Jungle Raj has no resonance with them. What does have resonance, on the other hand, is employment. And, this is a very big issue for the young youth in Bihar. And the fact is that the NDA has been ruling Bihar for 20 years. So if people feel the lack of employment, the blame goes on the NDA government. And because Modi government has been in power for the last 10 years at the center, naturally, the BJP also shares, part of the blame.
Right.
So I think that this seems to be the single most important issue. And as you notice that Tejasvi has been playing this up. He made that grand promise of one government job for every family in Bihar, which is, completely, yes. I don't think he can even fulfill it. But, the BJP's manifesto has also talked about 1 crore job. Yes. So obviously they're realizing that unemployment is the single biggest issue that resonates with people in Bihar.
Right. But do you think that, there is a certain sympathy factor also with Nitish Kumar? Because people in Bihar do realize that apparently he's being shortchanged by BJP. So the anger is more towards the BJP rather than Nitish Kumar. Do you also feel so?
Could well be. But, what goes through the voter's mind the day he goes into the voting booth and casts his or her vote? One doesn't know, because they tell you, and this is something which I I mean, I've been covering elections for more than 30 years now, 35, 40 years. And I know, and I've noticed a change in people. Earlier, they were very simple. They trusted you. They said, what was in their heart. They spoke honesty. But now with social media and, all that, they've become very smart, a bit too smart, I think, for their own good. They look at you also very suspiciously because they don't know whether, you are a government agent or you belong to some political party or you are actually a journalist. And again, I think journalism has acquired a kind of bad name over the last many years because it seemed to be biased in favor of one or the other party. So they don't really trust you. They gauge you. They tell you what they think that you would like to hear. So you come away with a certain impression. And then when the results come out, that you get quite surprised, actually. You see pollsters are being proved wrong all the time. Journalists are being proved wrong all the time. So voters have become too smart for us, I think, really.
Yeah.
And it's making voting, poll prediction very, very difficult.
Yeah. So my last question to you, Arti, before up the interview is that the big somersault which Nitish can do, do you think he would still do, because he's made all the claims that no, I'm not going to leave NDA on any cost, I'm going to be here till my last breath, all those claims he's made. But can you rule out the big Nitish's Paltu act?
With Nitish Kumar, you can't rule anything out. And even if he doesn't do the Paltu, he may use it as a bargaining chip. He may use it as a lever to force the BJP to make him chief minister. And the BJP will actually be scared because he's done it in the past. So they also can't trust him that, that he may actually jump ship. He's done it so many times. So, at one point, you remember he was even, flirting with the India bloc. He was, one of the main, the driving force behind the, opposition unity. And then suddenly he just dropped the India bloc and said that no, I'm going to stay with the NDA. So, you can't put anything past Nitish Kumar. And whether he jumps ship or not, I think would depend on the bargain that he's able to strike with the BJP.
Yes.
So, we may, if the results are close and if it's as tightly contested an election as Bihar elections tend to be, then we may see a lot of drama and excitement,
Absolutely.
And, the fact is that Nitish Kumar is not an Uddhav Thackeray or a Sushil Kumar Shinde. So I don't think the BJP can do to Nitish Kumar what they have done to, the two Shiv Sena chiefs in Maharashtra.
So we'll expect some interesting turn of events in the coming days. 6th and 11th is the polling and 14th is the counting day. So not much time is left. Thank you so much, Arti. It was wonderful having you on the program. Thank you very much.